This show is part of the RetroZap.com podcast network.
And welcome everybody to episode 66 of the Animaniacast.
Tall and dark and really handsome, the hunk from Ooh-Boomy-Ma's real dumb. And when he strolls, each one he strolls by goes,
And welcome once again to the Animaniacast. We are the only podcast out there that's dedicated to the animated series Animaniacs. Here we explore the series, episode by episode, exploring all the cultural references and gags that we can find. And in the end, we give each episode a Water Tower rating. I am Joey, and joining me once again in Los Angeles is my brother Nathan.
Am I on the air? Oh, all right. I just wanted to say that I think you guys are great and that I love your show.
And across the country in Georgia, it's Kelly.
Hi there.
Hey, everybody. So today we are now in the second season of Animaniacs. Da-da-da-da. Very short second season of Animaniacs. Just a few episodes in this one. But this episode right here is features three major segments. It features Take My Siblings, Please, the Mindy 500, and Morning Malaise. Well, what do you guys think? In a few words, what would you say about this episode? If someone were to ask you what you thought. Kelly, let's start with you. What do you think?
It reminded me of when the Howard Stern show used to be on E! Entertainment television.
Oh my gosh, yes. That was on, yeah. Yeah, Howard Stern used to have his E! Entertainment show. I forgot all about that. I think you could maybe still see his uncensored show somewhere. I don't know. It's usually on or off the air in some way. I don't know. Nathan, what about you?
Maybe the best episode of season 2, I think.
Definitely the best one we've seen so far.
Well, yeah, definitely so far. But it's going to be in the top 5 for sure.
That's right, because this season...
only 4.
Yes. So this season only has 4 episodes. Is that it, Nathan?
I believe so.
Wow. So this is a very brief season, and we were discussing a little bit about this. This season essentially consists of kind of leftovers from the first season, right?
Yeah. Well, they're just like little snippets that I guess they were going to be... They already knew there was going to be a WB network, basically, and there would be like an own little section for Animaniacs and new episodes there. So Fox only bought like 4 episodes, and then they just took the scraps from season 1. I guess it was a deal. I would think they got it at a steal price. Yeah,
exactly. I remember this time period right now for Animaniacs as a kid because, well, I say as a kid, had to be a teenager. But anyway, I do remember this time period going, getting home and going, where's the new Animaniacs? And kind of being upset, in the fall lineup. You say like, all the other shows are coming out with new episodes, but all of a sudden Animaniacs and I also remember Batman, the animated series. It's like, or maybe it was Batman and Robin at this point, but it was just like, where's my new episodes? It was 2 great shows. And I was just seeing reruns all the time. And every now and then, in the case of Animaniacs, you'd get like one you haven't seen before, like this one. But this was pre, internet stuff. So you didn't really know when necessarily they were going to drop or anything like that. So very frustrating as a young viewer trying to figure out when these new episodes were going to be. But I don't know. Did you ever have that kind of situation as well, Kelly?
No, not really. I mean, because I just came home and watched it every day, so I didn't really pay attention to whether it was a new season or not.
As long as it was on, you were happy, I suppose.
Yes.
Okay, good. Well, Nathan, tell us, when did this episode first premiere?
So this episode premiered on Saturday, September 10th of 1994, and not a whole lot happened that week, but we just came back from summer, and a whole bunch of movies came out since the last episode, so I'm just going to name off those.
Okay.
In June, we had City Slickers 2, The Legend of Curly's Gold, Speed, and The Lion King came out. So yeah, Speed and The Lion King. That's great. July.
Go ahead.
Okay, July we got Baby's Day Out, which is basically Mindy's and Buttons. We got The Shadow. We got Forrest Gump, Angels in the Outfield, True Lies, and The Mask.
Wow.
So yeah, like that. And then August got Clear and Present Danger, The Little Rascals, Natural Born Killers, and The Next Karate Kid.
Okay, so we are now in Joey's freshman year of high school, 1994. And I remember that summer with all those movies because I spent the summer up in Berkeley with our aunt and uncle and cousins. And I saw so many of those movies. We'd go to the theater. It was basically like they didn't have a TV set over there. So, but we did see a lot of movies. We went to the movie theater a lot. So I saw a lot of those movies that you mentioned. Lion King, gosh.
Yeah, that was the big movie of the summer for sure.
I saw it 4 times.
But also Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump was a huge movie that summer too. So
that came out in the summer too. My goodness, big summer. Lion King, Mask. Gosh, what was the first one you mentioned before Lion King?
We had Speed and
Speed
Slickers too.
Yep,
yeah.
I saw Speed in the theater as well. Yep, that was a big thing as well. Oh my goodness, what a summer of movies!
True Lies in the theater.
You saw True Lies?
Yeah, and
I was too young.
Yeah, I was way too young for that. But I was 8 or something, 7. So good.
All right. Well, let's get straight into our discussion of today's episode. So first of all, let's talk about the opening. It started with, here's the show's namey again, but it did have a variable verse in, somewhere else. And that was, they got rid of the Bill Clinton plays the sax, variant right there. Instead, they say, we've got wisecracks by the stacks. We've got wisecracks by the stacks. We're Animaniacs. And they show a shot of the Warners kind of doing their little Russian kicking dance from Taming of the Screwy. It's kind of weird. It doesn't really look good to me, but that was just me. Did you guys notice that at all?
I mean, yeah, it looked weirder than Bill Clinton playing the sax, but I think I'm just used to Bill Clinton playing the sax. So.
I just skipped the intro when I was watching.
Yeah, that's the thing. I actually the first time I watched it, I just skipped the ending or the beginning, and but then I watched it again last night, and I was like, wait, what just happened? What was so? Yeah, totally different line right there. Very weird.
And now, Dot's Poetry Corner.
So we have these, again, talking about little leftovers. We also have 3 Dot's Poetry Corners. And I'll kind of go through them real quick. First of all, the first Dot's Poetry Corner has I'm a Little Teapot.
I'm a little teapot, short and stout. Here is my handle, and here is a note from my shrink. He says I'm getting better. Last week I thought I was a toaster oven.
A very kind of silly one right there. I like that one a lot. And then the second Dot's Poetry Corner was almost a magic act or something like that, because she's Dot is talking about roses are red, and she does this really cool interpretation with the lyrics are kind of advanced, I think, for Dot's Poetry Corner.
Roses are red. Roses are red, violets are blue. That's what they say, but it just isn't true. Roses are red and apples are too. But violets are violet. Violets aren't blue. An orange is orange, but Greenland's not green. A pinky's not pink. So what does it mean? To call something blue when it's not, we defile it. But what the heck? It's hard to rhyme violet.
But that was pretty impressive. And then, of course, the very last one was the poem that I wrote, and she basically gets booed off the stage, and she keeps saying, this is the poem that I wrote, this is the poem. It's a very annoying Dot's Poetry Corner.
This is the audio audience that would do anything to shut up the person who has the mouth that's saying the words that are in the poem that I wrote. This is the TV show that tortures an audience until they would do anything to shut up the person who has the mouth that is...
This has been another visit to Dot's Poetry Corner.
It's also the last Dot's Poetry Corner that we have for the whole series.
Oh, wow.
I believe those are the last ones right there. We will not see Dot's Poetry Corner ever again.
We'll have to do a best of Dot's Poetry Corner sometime.
I suppose so. Which is the best Dot's Poetry? It's
too hard. It's too many of them.
There's a lot of them, so we'll probably have to get together and plan one of these, a poll of what we think is the best four, and then have the audience go from there at one of these days. Look for that next week. We'll try it next week.
Sure.
Maybe.
Especially if we can't think of something.
Exactly. Maybe. Unless we think of something better. In the case, never mind. But those are our 3 Dots Poetry Corners. Kelly, Nathan, what do you guys think? Which one was the funniest?
I thought they were all pretty good. I thought the animation was a little weak on most of them.
Yeah, that's the freelance animation, I believe.
Yeah,
which always kind of looks weird.
They were all, I think, better than usual Dot Poetry Corners, I thought. But
that last one annoyed me. I don't know about you, but anyway.
Yeah, it was pretty annoying.
I didn't find any of them particularly funny necessarily. I mean, I didn't laugh at any of them, but I really did like. What was it? The second one where roses are red.
Yes.
And I thought
Violets are
that
violet.
was very clever. I mean, it was long for a Dot's Poetry Corner, and it was insightful. It was, it was kind of like shower thoughts, like,
yeah,
violets aren't blue though, they're violet. and so I thought it was really cleverly written, and I really enjoyed that one.
Okay. Other than those Dots Poetry Corners and things like that, there is one little short transition, which is a shortened version of the Warners running away in a plane with Ralph dragging behind. There's no music or anything on it. It's kind of weird. It just is there, and honestly, if you blink, you might miss it. That was there. Don't think we really have much to say about that one, other than it's there.
I'm just confused. Like, did they really need that extra second? Like, why did they even put it in? Like,
yeah, couldn't they have just done a longer reaction shot of somebody? I don't know, but apparently they did.
Oh, we're 2 seconds short. We gotta.
Apparently they needed it, and I'm just gonna go ahead and talk about it right now, because why the heck not? What I think might be the worst Wheel of Morality that we've seen. Everything was recycled on it, and then at the end, the moral was,
Don't be a fool. Stay in school.
which just sounds like something Mr. T would say. Although it would probably be more entertaining from Mr. T, though.
He pities the fool that doesn't stay in school.
Yeah, pity the fool. There's a great.
They said it like that.
Yeah. There's a great Mr. T album, by the way, that was released back in the mid-'80s that you could probably find it on YouTube or something like that. I highly recommend listening to it, everybody, because it is so unintentionally funny. It's so great.
When you're flying high above the clouds, it's time for you to come down. Face to face, the reality is better on level ground. I pity the fool who spends his time messing around with dope. It's okay if they call you square. You got promise and you got hope. Everybody say, no doubt, no doubt, no doubt, you don't do doubt. You can get it anywhere, at school or from a friend. Just because he thinks it's cool don't mean you have to trust him. You're okay the way you are. Learn to like yourself.
That's right.
You got mama's love and daddy's love. You don't need nobody else.
Let's go ahead and get into our main discussion, which is our 3 different segments here. So the first one was called Take My Siblings, Please. And Take My Siblings, Please was written by Paul Rugg, and it was directed by Michael Gerard. Basically, this is the retelling of the Three Billy Goats Gruff, but with the Warners instead. We have a cool organ that they play a lot, and basically there's a troll under a bridge. They all want to go to the other side to be in the meadow to kind of hang out. They're romping on the other side, which looks like a lot of fun, especially with the dancing girls around. But they all want to go to the other side at one point, and they all, go up to this troll, and they all tell the troll, like, don't eat me,
You don't want to eat me. I'm just a little skinny thing. I know. Eat my brothers. They're way meatier than I am. They should be coming over the bridge any minute now. Please?
And we all know that story, goes to the last one, the eldest sibling, Yakko. And before the troll can say anything, Yakko immediately pulls out a humongous mallet and squishes the troll.
Romp, 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 hey! Romp, 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 hey! Romp, 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 hey!
Blah! I'm gonna eat you!
Romp, 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 hey!
And that's the end of the thing, basically. That's the end of our story. That's Take My Siblings, please.
The ending of our story.
The ending. That was the ending of our story in this case. What do you guys think of our little cartoon? It was very short. What did you guys think, Nathan?
Yeah, very very short, but it was good. They broke the fourth wall a lot, so that was fun.
Well, somebody had to do it.
So it was a fun little episode, but yeah, very short and didn't really seem like it had a good ending. The troll kind of annoyed me too, saying blah 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 every time, but
Blah, blah, blah!
yeah,
Blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah!
The animation was a little sloppy, though, don't you think? It was just like, it was
at
not
times.
necessarily bad. There was some parts where it looked really good, and then other parts where it was just like, what the heck is going on with their facial expressions? Like, I don't know what's going on. It just looked weird. It looked not bad, but just weird.
When Dot was kind of heading off onto the Forbidden Meadow, her head looked really big in one of the shots.
Yeah.
way too big. But
So things were a little bit off. And did you notice, like, speaking of people's heads, like, the troll's hair, she makes this whole big thing about, what are you putting in your hair and everything? And she puts a bow in it. And then the next shot, his hair is like down to like just 2 or 3 strands, as if either it got pulled out or I don't know, something weird happened.
he was ashamed of his hair, so he cut it all off, obviously.
Obviously, off camera, he cut his hair off really quickly.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's a cute one. I did laugh out loud when Yakko just pulls out the mallet, because I was just that was surprising to me, just seeing that
you
ending.
You do not expect that to happen. So,
and when it comes to cultural references, there's really not too much. I mean, the title itself is based on the Henny Youngman joke, "Take my wife, please." Henny Youngman, I believe, was in an episode of Tiny Toon Adventures. He was on one episode as one of the teachers, I believe. And of course, Wakko was singing the song to Tiny Toon Adventures and then saying he's kind of sick of that song, which that was kind of mean, but whatever. Dot is singing a parody of the girl from Ipanema, I should say. And some people say that the organ that Wakko was playing was very similar to Captain Nemo's organ from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. But I'll leave that up to the people that actually have seen that movie, because I certainly haven't. Are there any...
Long time ago, so I don't remember an organ.
Yeah, I just remember Davy Jones in the Pirates movie playing the organ a couple times. That's the only kind of organ from a sea person that I remember watching at all. I like how Wakko would look at the camera every now and then, and they actually all looked at the camera and just talked to the audience. Like you were saying, Nathan, there was some good breaking of the fourth wall right there. But really, that's about it for me. Is there any other things that you guys thought were nice about this first cartoon?
I found out what romping is now, I guess.
Yeah, I like the romp, 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 romp.
I never knew. When I read it in a book that people are romping, now I know what that means.
Yeah, you do.
Like
You do look a little conga line.
Don't worry about me. I'll find someone to romp with. I love cartoons. And romp, 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 hey! Romp, 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 hey!
Depending on where your brain is at the time, Yakko being with the dancing girls romping could mean a few different things. So who knows?
Really tired after they were romping.
Come on, one more romp. I'll even get in front this time.
Who knows?
I'll even get in front this time. I don't know what that means. So.
So, I don't know. The less said about it, the better, I think, to keep our non-explicit rating on iTunes. But we'll go ahead and move on, I suppose, to the next cartoon, and that is the Mindy 500. The Mindy 500 was written by John P. McCann, and it was directed by Michael Gerard. Nathan, tell us, what happens here in the Mindy 500?
So it's another Mindy and Buttons cartoon, folks. And in this one, Mindy is driving a little car at the beginning of it, and Buttons is supposed to watch her and make sure he doesn't dig up any plants or anything. But Mindy sees a race car on a truck, and she sees a little clown on that race car, and she wants to drive that car instead. So she gets out of her yard, and Buttons chases after her. She ends up going into a whole race with a bunch of other cars, and she gets to ride her clown car, and they end up, I guess they get first place. They get a trophy. They may have just stole the trophy. I'm not quite sure. And they end up crashing back into the yard, and Buttons is into the ground, and the mom thinks that Buttons dug up the yard and dug up a trophy and yells at Buttons. So there's the cartoon.
Yep. Yes, indeed. And Buttons felt very tired in this episode, too, for a while. Ha ha ha.
I like that part. There's good Foley and everything.
Yeah. Well, there's not much to say. The mom, I did find out what hair color the mom has in this episode. For a split second, they do show her hair, her back of her head. So she has blonde hair, or at least she did in this episode. Who knows? She's so busy doing everything else. She could change her hairstyle, every day for all we know. Well, there's not really much to say about references to other stuff. I mean, it's the Indy 500. They're referencing that race. The Warners are in a scene for a split second. They're kind of walking around. It's a mildly amusing cartoon with sometimes good animation and sometimes horrible animation. What do you guys think about this episode? This episode, once again, by the way, was animated by the folks over at Freelance Animation, which has its problems from time to time. What do you guys think, Kelly, Nathan?
I like where Buttons got squished by the tire, and then he was all flattened and looked like a tire.
I like how he rolled off of it too and got back into his normal shape. That was kind of a cool thing right there. There's some good close-ups of Button's face too, from time to time.
Yeah, I liked what the driver says when he gets he's like, "I want a new tire. This is a dog."
Change this tire. It's a dog.
Oops, sorry.
Just like, oh, sorry.
Yeah, for as simple as a Mindy and Buttons episode can be plot-wise, and they always usually are. There were some good lines there written by John P. McCann, like the mother, of course, like talking about planning a PTA meeting about negligent parents. And
Hi, lady.
Call me Mom. If you need me, I'll be inside drafting a PTA resolution against negligent mothers.
Okay, lady, I love you. Bye-bye.
But it is still a Mindy and Buttons cartoon, and it is. I mean, the animation in it was just not that good. I mean, there's a part where Buttons is dodging these cars, and the cars just look. The scale is like really off at some points. Like they look like mini cars. Like and sometimes they're bigger and sometimes they're small. I don't know. It's just all over the place, and I just tried not to think about it too much. Otherwise, it just upset me. But what do you guys think? Any other parts that you thought were humorous in this Mindy and Buttons cartoon?
I was thinking maybe it's like, was this a reference to that Pixar movie Cars 3? Like, it
was a reference before its time. That's how ahead of its time Animaniacs was. If it was referencing movies that would not be out for 20-something years.
See?
Amazing. Let's go ahead then and get to our last segment, and that is called Morning Malaise. And Morning Malaise was written by Nicholas Hollander, was directed by Alfred Gimeno and Dave Marshall. Kelly, what happens here in Morning Malaise?
Well, it's a parody of Howard Stern, which I would think most, like the target audience for Animaniacs, hopefully wouldn't have even known who Howard Stern was. Because he's not exactly known for being kid-friendly. But he's been known as what I think they call him the shock jock, because he, mean to his fans and just kind of all over the place. And like we mentioned at the beginning, he used to have a show on E! Entertainment, and I didn't watch it, but I watched a lot of the what do you call it? So like they used to show movie trailers on E! And I'd watch it, and the Weekend Review, and so I'd catch it either before or after certain things aired. So that was my familiarity with him. So and he was known for having like this long curly brown hair, or I guess it was brown, I think. But anyway, the Animaniacs, they're birds, and so he's, instead of Howard Stern, he's Howie Turn, and Robin, is it Quivers?
Yes.
Robin Quivers was his co-host, and she was sort of like the more mild-mannered, nicer person, maybe his moral conscience, if you will. And in the episode, I think it's I Am a Robin.
Yeah, Howie? That's my name. Don't wear it out. And turn down your radio, you goofball.
And I'm a Robin.
You're on the air.
So it's Robin and Howie Turn. And they're doing the radio show, and the Animaniacs call in, and he's super mean to them. And so they end up going down to the station, and chaos ensues. And one of my favorite lines from that is does Cher know that you're wearing her hair?
Nice wig you got there. Does Cher know you're borrowing it?
The way they defeat him, I suppose you could say, is having kind of like a battle of wits. Yakko versus Howie Turn. And Howie Turn, of course, like explodes with the witticisms that Yakko is able to put out. Even though I don't know if necessarily Yakko's comebacks were necessarily the best. I think I've heard some better ones from Dot and Wacko, who are apparently his writing team.
What kind of fool do you take me for?
Let me answer, okay? Come on.
Ooh, yeah, these kids think they're really cute.
I can't help it if I'm cute. He's got gingivitis.
I am Howie Turn. I'm a big star. I'm a household name.
So is the Mr. Tidy Bowl Man. Are you related?
Well, that's pretty funny coming from a kid who looks like a demented monkey.
Oh! You know, you could talk your head off all day and never miss it.
Oh, yeah? Well, is that your face, or did you block a kick?
Too bad the closest you'll ever come to a brainstorm is a light drizzle.
There's a train leaving in a few minutes. Why don't you be under it?
You know, you'd make a fortune renting your head out as a balloon.
Oh yeah? Well, I guess you're one of those mighty brains. Mighty empty.
Last time I saw a mouth that big, it had a fish hook in it.
You're a little shorty.
It reminded me a lot of Pee Wee Herman, like, I know you are, but what am I?
A little bit, yeah.
You're crazy.
I know you are, but what am I?
You're a nerd.
I know you are, but what am I?
But I think most people would probably know Howard Stern today from probably America's Got Talent, because he has been a judge on there recently. But back in the early and mid 90s into the late 90s, I suppose, he was, just the number one radio show host nationwide. He wasn't I don't think you could hear him really on the air very easily in Tucson as a kid, unless you had a really good radio signal and were able to pick up like the station in Phoenix or something like that. But he was definitely on E! Entertainment. I would see his show, or at least parts of it, when I would try to watch this, Talk Soup or something like that on E! And probably catch a few minutes of it there. But other than that, I didn't really have much to hear from his radio show. Did you ever get it? Was it playing in the Atlanta area at the time on the radio, Kelly?
I don't know. The only thing I listened to on the radio back then was the local pop station.
Yeah, and that definitely was not Howard Stern.
Yeah, and that usually was just in the morning when my alarm would go off.
Yeah.
Or in my car. Well, we'll see. No, I wasn't driving then. I was too young to be driving when Animaniacs was on. But so yeah, usually just in the morning when my alarm would go off, and so I didn't listen to any other stations.
Well, and Nathan, I don't suppose you remember anything much of Howard Stern, right?
I mean, I know of Howard Stern, but yeah, I never listened to his show.
Yeah. Well, I did definitely get, I think the voice of Howie Turn and Robin in this are just spot on. I mean, they really were amazing impressions. Maurice LaMarche is doing his Howard Stern, basically, his voice for Howard Stern, and it was impressive. It really does sound like him quite a bit.
But let this be a lesson to all. For wherever there is belching, we'll be there. Wherever there is stupidity, we'll be there. Wherever there is candy, we'll be there a lot quicker.
It ends with a reference. Some people think it's a reference to the Three Amigos, but really, I think it was really referring to the Grapes of Wrath.
I'll be all around in the dark. I'll be everywhere, wherever you can look. Wherever there's a fight so hungry people can eat, I'll be there. Wherever there's a cop beating up a guy, I'll be there. I'll be in the way guys yell when they're mad. I'll be in the way kids laugh when they're hungry and they know supper's ready. And when the people are eating the stuff they raise and living in the houses they build, I'll be there too.
Of course, in Three Amigos, they say, wherever there is suffering, we'll be there.
Wherever there is injustice, you will find us. Wherever there is suffering, we'll be there. Line.
Wherever liberty is threatened,
Wherever liberty is threatened, you will find the Three Amigos.
I love Three Amigos, but
yeah, it's a great movie.
But I think they were probably referring to John Steinbeck's Grapes of Wrath right there.
Hello, listener. This is Jess Harnell, the voice of Wacko and Animaniacs, and you're listening to Animaniacast, which is the best thing you could possibly listen to, especially if you're not wearing pants. I'd love to go on talking to you, but I can't because I've got a potty emergency. See you later.
Well, let's go ahead and get to our Water Tower rating. So what do you guys think? Out of 5 water towers, how many water towers would you give today's episode? Nathan, let's start with you.
I'll give it, I guess, 2.5. 2.5?
Yep.
Yeah.
2.5? Question.
Sure. 2.5 question mark. There was no sketch like that I need to see again, and there were some drawing parts that were just distracting. I think if the animation was better, I could give it a 3 easily.
Yeah, that's the thing with some of these episodes. If the animation is off, suddenly you're not listening to the dialogue anymore and the great writing, and then that ends up hurting the episode. Unfortunately, that happens in a few episodes. I was just thinking back to the Animator's Alley the other day and how everything that was said in that episode between the animator and the Warners was actually very funny stuff, but the animation was so bad that it just took away from every joke they were saying and you couldn't focus on it. Anyway, Kelly, what about you? What do you think?
I will give it a 3. It was just average. It was okay. It wasn't. I really did like that Dot's Poetry Corner though, which is kind of unusual because I'm usually meh about those, but I just thought that one was super clever and but everything else it was pretty similar to stuff we'd already seen. Nothing stood out.
Okay.
So nothing. There wasn't anything awful or terrible about it. It was fine. It was fine, and as you know, if a woman says something's fine, it's not really fine, but it's okay.
It'll do.
Yes.
Okay, well then, I'm going to give it, I was going to give it 2.5, but you're right, Kelly. Those Dots Poetry Corners were some of the better ones that we've seen. I'll give it a 3 as well. I'll be generous, especially because the next episodes in this short season I'm not too optimistic about leftovers that we have right now. So I'm going to give this one 3 because I'm afraid that it might go, who knows? Hopefully I don't go downhill from here, but I might end up giving some 2.5s in the next few episodes. I hope not, but we'll find out. I'm trying not to view ahead just so I don't mess up everything, but who knows? We'll find out. So I'm giving it 3 as well. So let's go ahead and get to our poll results from last week. And let's see, where are those? Oh no. Hang on. The poll results are not done right now, so we're just going to have to turn over to the announcer.
Woo! Hello there, this is the announcer, and I'm here I must be on the North Pole or something, because it's snowy and white, and it's around Christmas time at the time of this recording, so therefore I must be on the North Pole. Well, anyway, I am here to tell everybody about the Animaniacast Twitter poll results. So here we go. The hosts unanimously gave the following #Animaniacs episodes 5 water towers. But which one is the best? #Animaniacast poll. Episode 40, which had fair game and puppet rulers, got 11%. Episode 20, which featured Hearts of Twilight and the Boyds, got 17%. But it was episode 34, which featured Clownin' Out and Bubba Boba Brain, which won with 72%. That right there is perhaps the best episode of Season 1 of Animaniacs. And right now I better get some shelter, but I can't find anything. What's that? I think I hear Santa's reindeer in the background. Could it be? Is it jolly old Saint Nick? What the heck is that thing? Well, up to the studio with this week's poll.
So, episode 34, Clownin' Out, was the winner of that one. What do you guys think? So
how does he always get the results before we do?
I don't understand it. I don't understand it, but the announcer has some sort of ability to do that.
Okay.
Uses the Force. Kind of like the ability for Kelly to get early tickets for seeing The Last Jedi ahead of everyone else with media things. Jeez Louise.
I will see it on the 11th.
Anyway. So, I'm so jealous. Anyway, I know I put Clownin' Out and Bubba Boba Brain as my number one on last week's show, but what do you guys think? Any changes of heart or anything, or which one of those do you think is the best?
That's the top of my 3 is Bubba Boba Brain with Clownin' Out.
Yeah. And Kelly, you said Hearts of Twilight and the Boyds was the best of those 3, but do you still think that, or are you going to go?
I don't know. I kind of torn between Fair Game and Puppet Rulers.
Ah, yeah.
I love Fair Game. I'll keep Hearts of Twilight.
Okay. Yeah, when the first 3 votes that came in were one for each one. So it eventually episode 34, ran away with it. But the first 3 people who voted on this week's poll, one voted for episode 20, one voted for episode 34, and the other voted for episode 40. So all 3 are really great episodes. So, yeah, it's a hard decision. Well, let's go ahead and get to the poll for this week. And Nathan, what do we got?
All right. So we, of course, know that the Animaniacs will be back someday, right? Like, they're going to make new episodes eventually, right?
Sure, maybe. I don't know.
Well, if they do ever make new episodes of the Animaniacs, what would our preferred animation style be for an Animaniacs reboot? So we have flash animation, or we could do computer animation, or we could do hand-drawn animation, or we can do live action, everybody. What do you think? What would you want to see?
And by live action, do we mean like Roger Rabbit, or do we mean like people dressed up as Animaniacs or something?
Hey, people can take it as they want.
I don't know if I want a furries thing going on, but anyway.
You could just have animals do all the things.
Oh,
live action that way too.
That would be really upsetting with the Warners then. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what animal they would choose.
Although a live action Mindy and Buttons might be kind of cool to watch. I might want to watch that.
So yeah, the people will vote. We'll let the people decide.
Okay. All right. By the way, and like Nathan said at the beginning of the episode, Mindy and Buttons live action is Baby's Day Out. It's a very good movie. I just rewatched it on Netflix recently and enjoyed it quite a bit. Okay. Well, you can make your voice heard by simply going to twitter.com/Animaniacast or just search for #Animaniacast poll. You can find that poll and place your vote. See what, tell us what animation style you would prefer the most. Well, let's go ahead and get straight on over to some plugs, some contact information. Kelly, where can people get in contact with you?
They can find me on Twitter at Yoda Princess, YODA_PRNCSS, or email me, Kelly at BigShinyRobot.com.
And Nathan, what about you?
I'm also on Twitter, folks. I now have 40 followers.
Whoa!
And yeah, Django FT, that's me.
All right. And speaking of followers and things like that, the Animaniacast, you can find us on Twitter and Facebook. On Twitter, we almost have 2,000 followers. And on Facebook, we almost have 500 likes. So if you are not following us on Twitter and liking us on Facebook, what the heck are you doing? Get on there right now and do it.
God, okay, I just followed you.
Oh, thank you, Nathan. Jeez Louise, about time. Okay, so you can also send us an email, which is animaniacast@retrozap.com. And speaking of retrozap.com, we are a proud member of the RetroZap family. And gosh, you should head on over there because every single day they got new articles, we got new podcasts dropping, and it's just so much. There are 21 different RetroZap podcasts to listen to. So whether it's dealing with movies, Star Wars, superheroes, or just pop culture in general, RetroZap has you covered. You can actually subscribe to the RetroZap iTunes feed or podcast feed and get every single one of the 21 podcasts delivered straight to your device for free. It's free entertainment. It's free entertainment. I don't know if you can. I'm trying to combine these words. I can't do it. So you get
entertainment.
For entertainment. There you go. And you could also check us out on Animaniacast.com. That'll take you straight on over to our RetroZap.com archives. Well, I think that's about it for us. So, for Nathan and Kelly, this is Joey saying, good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
This podcast is not endorsed by Warner Brothers or Amblin Entertainment and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Animaniacs, the Warner Brothers logo, all names, pictures, and sounds of the Animaniacs characters or any other Animaniacs-related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Warner Brothers, Amblin Entertainment, or their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of the Animaniacast unless otherwise indicated.
You're a noonie head.